Okay, so this is time for another add-in video. I did the sequence about how I chamber a little bit, how I cut chambers. More specifically about how I taper chambers and how I make it repeatable, and I showed a little line extension. Well, I've now done enough of these that I need to be able to go out and just repeat the 50 BMG or any other. And this is kludgy, but this is a modification I've made to it. In the construction industry, we've got a little level with a laser pointer on it. Basically, this area is parallel. It's got an adjustable laser in here. You can either stand it on end and shoot down into a form, or you can stand it flat, or you can stand it flat, shoot it. The way I use this, it's magnetic. So I turn it on, makes a, it's not a small beam by any means. You know, a lot of my stuff is a lot smaller than this, but it's small enough to be useful, and I'll show you how. Okay, I'll get it up here. First thing you do is zero the lathe out, and I explained that, but I'm going to show it better. You run it all the way over until it slams. You back this out. Now I've got this area cleaned up in here, so this slams to a dead stop. And then you bring this over till it stops against the chuck. Make sure that you're lined up. So now you're at 0 by 0. You're up against the chuck, against an immovable carriage, and you're backed off against a boss here, which is immovable. Now I can zero all this stuff out, pull this back to 20 inches. If you're reading up there, you're going to see now this one's already set because I've been cutting with it, so let's just see how repeatable this is. And this is, in a way, this is another of my tool rants. People who say, I'm going down to the 100th of a thou, 10th of a thou, this is stupid, but anyway, close enough to 20 inches. That readout goes to so many places. It's not about the expense of the machine. It's about the ability of the operator. So this is what I'm trying to illustrate here. We're going to have to screw with focus a little. But now, if I did this right, if I'm back to 0, I should be able to take this thing, turn it on, there it is, stick it on here, and get a reading that is exactly like, why am I not able to see that? Is this handle in the way? I might have to move the camera out here a little bit. Sorry about this, guys. I thought I had it in a place I could read. Maybe I need to focus a little more. But trust me, the laser dot is intersecting right here. Out here, and I'll be able to get it on my finger. It's intersecting and it's showing a little bright spangle right there. And it's running across, and I've measured this distance from this tag down to here. This is so repeatable over 20 inches that this will get you within like a fraction of a degree of correct. Again, the little gauge on here, I show us how the little gauge isn't all that accurate, and that's true. It simply isn't. So now, turn my laser off here before I shoot myself in the foot. I'm actually going to pull the batteries while I'm talking, although it's kind of a waste of your time to be talking about pulling the batteries while I pull the batteries. But hey, it's my channel. So, this is set to the correct angle, and to prove that, I can come over here and I can bugger this thing out. And here again is where I go. I'll just show you my quick setup here. I run this down to a bottom point where my cutter clears pretty much at the back of the revolution. And I zero it. Babbity bam. Now I've got another zero. As I back off and look in here and do stuff, I can come back to zero and pretty quickly get it back to zero. The lathe is completely repeatable. Let me just see if I dare take a cut here. I need to turn a little more light on the subject. Oh, let's see. Let's see what this does to my lighting. It might just muck it all up. Lights here are the bane of my existence. But this is set to, the problem is that this is set to closely approximate my new chambers, which are quite a bit fatter than the reamer. But what I'll do is I'll take a little pass here just to show how quick this is, and then I'll run the reamer in there and show you that it's really close. I used to do this in steps. I would reach in here, find the slightly smaller than the smallest point on my reamer and run out, and then I would come out and step and step and step and step. That might not make sense, but basically when the reamer went in, it was touching on these steps and it would drive in nice and centered. I've been playing now with the idea of running the taper in or close to the same taper, and I decided, this is within the last few months. Right now I'm going to try something different. I'm actually going to pre-bore my chamber using the setting that I use for my final taper, which means when the reamer goes in there, it's going to be tighter at the front than it is at the back. It's not even going to cut at the back. But I'm just showing you a repeatable way to do it. So it's not so much about doing it as it is about just showing you that it's possible to do it, and then you choose your own thing. I'm going to turn this on for a minute. It's going to get loud. Now I threw some chips. I made some shavings. I made some strings. This is a Bartline barrel. It's cutting fine. And it is fun. Now, just because, I'll show you my, I backed this off. Now, I just made a partial pass. This isn't really gonna, I just blew a partial. Right now there's a step in this chamber. But, I'll bet you that this will still show pretty tight when I go in. Yeah, it has no play, per se. I could start driving right now. I could actually start chambering with my fancy vice grip slip joint clutch jobby. Again, to reiterate, this is just clamped on here, so it's like a slip clutch. If anything jams up or tries to blow up on me, it just stops and spins in there. I chamber at slow speed. Basically what I've got is a, I'll just run in here and show you where I'm at right now, only to fill up a minute or two on the video. This is the top, because I time my barrels. I can't get all this stuff in, but I believe in hanging my barrels a certain way. This is the top, which doesn't mean I'll set it at the top. I'll time it out to a spot off of the top that I like to be, because I want these, I time them in such a way that under recoil, as they torque and lift, they lift up the center line, in my opinion. So, that's just to show how I set up for my taper. Maybe it'll help somebody somewhere. If not, Sorry, I just wasted 10 minutes of your life. You'll never get it back.